Mix and matching COVID-19 vaccines have been discussed previously, and this is the part 2 of that presentation. Initially, I told you about the COV study, which is conducted by the University of Oxford, a 13-month trial in persons over the age of 50 years. There are going to be 1,050 volunteers. The initial results have already been released, and the expanded results in June or July. The design was to give the AstraZeneca vaccine followed by the Pfizer vaccine, or the Pfizer vaccine followed by the AstraZeneca vaccine. It was extended to include the Moderna and the Novavax vaccine. Safety signals were going to be looked at, and immune response were assessed, and it had been rolled out against in a number of different centers. So this was spoken to in the previous presentation. Now, the first data from this trial has been released and published. Data was collected from between February 11th and 26th, and there were 830 participants. 463 of them received the vaccine 28 days apart, and 367 received the vaccine 84 days apart. This was the interim safety analysis and was published in the Lancet on May 12th. The figure shows the local and systemic adverse effects following the first dose and the mixed dose given after a period of 28 days. And this slide shows you the systemic adverse effects and the local adverse effects such as feverishness, fatigue, etc. And you can immediately see that if I'll go through this figure slowly, the first bar is AstraZeneca. The second bar is AstraZeneca, Pfizer. The third one is Pfizer. And the fourth bar is Pfizer, AstraZeneca, given in that order. So immediately you can see in the fatigue and in the feverishness bar that the AstraZeneca, Pfizer bar was higher than the AstraZeneca. And in addition, the Pfizer, AstraZeneca bar, that is bar 4, was higher than the Pfizer bar, that is bar 3. But importantly, most of it was taken up by the yellow and the orange, which were mild or moderate symptoms. So the findings from this trial were that they were more likely to develop mild or moderate local and systemic adverse effects, chills, fatigue, feverishness, joint pains, malaise, muscle ache and pain were described. They were short-lived and there was no other safety concerns. The young age group may have it more prominent, or it may be more prevalent because adverse effects are a bit more prominent in the young age group. So the conclusion of this study was mixing the Pfizer and AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine increases mild side effects, but it was found to be safe as per this study. The next part of the study will be published in June, and I will update you on this. So if you look at feverishness, you can see that with the AstraZeneca Pfizer, it was 34%, and with the AstraZeneca, it was 10%. Whereas in the Pfizer AstraZeneca, it was 41%, and in the Pfizer, it was 21%. So the important thing to remember is there were no hospitalizations. More reactogenicity was found in the 48 hours after the vaccine, and paracetamol use was higher. Hematology and biochemistry profiles were similar, and that is an important aspect to remember. This has to be told to the people receiving the vaccine, such as healthcare workers, because they may have to take one day off work. But the important take-home message was there was no major safety signal, and that it was only some mild adverse effects that we increased with the mix and match in this trial. The COVID to a COV2 study is ongoing, and here the Moderna and the Novavax vaccines are also being included in the trial. Within 50 years, it's 8 to 12 week gap between the vaccines, and 1,080 is being targeted as the recruitment group. This is a non-inferiority study. What they're trying to do is to show that mixing isn't substantially worse than non-mixing. So at the present day, we know that mixing vaccination schedules are ongoing. That is important to remember. In Germany, France, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark, the reason being that there has been a change in the AstraZeneca vaccine guidance with regards to the ages of people who would receive it. This is so in the UK too. They are over the age of 40. People would receive the AstraZeneca, but less than 40, they would receive another vaccine. So those who had received the first vaccine would receive a different vaccine. Most likely it's Pfizer or Moderna at the present time. Also, the issue is exacerbated by vaccine shortages, which are found across the world. And Ontario is likely to give mixed COVID-19 vaccines, and Quebec, again, would follow suit. So this process is going on, and trials are coming on board, showing the safety, effectiveness, and immunogenicity profiles of these mix and match profiles. Thank you very much.